Welcome back to Mama's Meals. Today we're making sweet and sour cauliflower. If you want a healthier alternative to sweet and sour chicken, this is a great option, especially if you're vegetarian or vegan. Now you can make your own sweet and sour sauce. I have this sweet chili sauce, so I know it's a little different, but it's what I had in my pantry. So here are all the ingredients we're going to need for the cauliflower portion of our dinner. The Ziploc bags will also be important for mixing these ingredients together. We have spices and dry ingredients for our slurry and for our breading. The spice in the blue shaker is pepper. Now in this video, we are frying the cauliflower in peanut oil. However, you could also bake it in the oven, and I'll leave instructions on that in the description below. And with our, I guess it's sweet chili cauliflower, we're going to have rice, and then I'm also gonna bake some spring rolls, frozen spring rolls in the oven. So here I am, I'm gonna go ahead and put the rice in a pot with some water. I'm doing 2 cups of rice along with 3 cups of water and a dab of butter. I will say that for a family of 4, 1 cup of rice would be sufficient for a single night's dinner, but I'm doing 2 so that we can have leftovers throughout the week. Now that the rice is cooking, I am starting to make our wet slurry. So the slurry is what you're going to coat the pieces of cauliflower with first, so that the breading has something to stick to. I like to add eggs to my slurry because I think it adds a little bit of protein to the vegetable dish. However, if you're vegan, skip out on the egg. You can find another alternative, or you can simply use almond milk. But here I am, I'm scrambling the eggs, and then some other wet ingredients that I'm gonna use, which I didn't show in the opening, is a dash of balsamic vinegar. It's liquid, maybe it's more like a splash, not a dash. But here it is, the vinegar, and then a splash of soy sauce as well. Once I've added those, I'm getting the milk. I'm using organic whole milk because that's what we have on hand for the kids. But as I said, you can use whatever you prefer, whether it's almond milk, soy milk, maybe even oatmeal milk. It doesn't really matter all that much. And then I'm adding in a few spices. I'm adding in black pepper, salt, and then the flour. If you want to add other spices, you can. I just did salt and pepper because I knew I was going to add additional spices to the breading. And now we're going to add our cup of flour and then a cup of cornstarch. Okay, now once you have all of your ingredients added, we're going to take a whisk and we're going to mix them up. It will be runny. You want it to be a little bit runny. And then once we have that prepared, I'm going to go ahead and start mixing our dry ingredients so that they're ready. So I'm adding in a cup of cornstarch, then I'm grabbing several cups of flour. So here's the first cup. We're going to add in a second cup, and I believe we're also going to add in a third cup. Now, you could just add spices to it and call it a day, like even salt and pepper would be sufficient, but I had some of this Panko breading that I really needed to use, so I'm adding a cup of that to it. Here's my son. He's sitting in his high chair while I cook dinner. Isn't he sweet? We're also going to add a little bit of baking powder to the dry mix. It'll help it be nice and crispy and bubbly. Then we're adding in our spices. I have salt, black pepper. Then I want to add a little bit of paprika. I'm going to add some garlic powder. I'm also going to add some Italian seasoning. It's got oregano, rosemary, etc., onion powder, but you add what you like. I'm adding these seasonings because when I make fried chicken, These are the types of spices that I gravitate to and put in my breading, but make it your own. So once we have all our dry ingredients together, mix it up and it should look something like this. Now we need to prep the cauliflower. So we have our slurry ready, we have our dry ingredients ready. We need to cut up our cauliflower into bite-sized pieces, put it in a colander and rinse. As the cauliflower is cleaned, I put the pieces that are ready into a Ziploc gallon bag. Here I am prepping a second head of cauliflower because I'm creating a double recipe. Once we have finished cutting up our cauliflower and rinsing it, I'm putting the final pieces into the last Ziploc bag, and I'm going to take our wet slurry and add it in with the cauliflower. So since I'm making a double recipe, I have 2 bags with cauliflower. So I'm going to put half of the slurry in one bag and half of the slurry in the other. Then this is the fun part. We're going to shake it up so that all of the individual cauliflower pieces are coated with that wet slurry. Now, you don't have to do it in a plastic bag. You can mix it up in a bowl. At this time, I'm also going to put our peanut oil on the stovetop to let it heat up. And now that we have our cauliflower coated in the wet slurry, we're ready to add the breading. Again, I'm splitting up my ingredients between 2 portions. So I'm putting half of my dry ingredients in this bag and half of my dry ingredients in the other bag. Again, you're going to close it up, give it a shake, and now all of your pieces should look something like this. They're coated and they're ready to go. I usually pour them into a separate bowl so that we're ready to toss them into the oil. Now, I wait until my oil is between 350 and 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I like to think of it as a similar temperature to what it would be if you put it into the oven. Here I am tossing in the first few pieces. Please don't throw them in like I just did because it's not very safe, especially if you don't have an electric stovetop. If you have gas, you do not want to have oil splashing around like I just had. So take this spoon or a spatula and gently lower it into the oil on your utensil. Okay, so that was our first batch. They sat in the oil for about 5 to 8 minutes until they were golden brown. Now I'm gonna pop a few spring rolls in the oven so that we can have them on the side of our cauliflower and rice. As the cauliflower comes out of the oil, have a plate with some paper towels on it ready. Then put it on the plate with the paper towels, and the paper towels will soak up any excess oil. And as they cool, transfer your fried cauliflower into a bowl. If you bake the cauliflower, then simply take the baked cauliflower and put it into a bowl. Here I am showing our side dishes. We have our rice cooking, it's getting close. We put the spring rolls in the oven and we're throwing in a second batch of cauliflower into our hot oil. Okay, now I'm gonna show you how to do it safely. See how I gently lowered it into the oil so it doesn't splash all over the place? That's what you should do. I had to learn that the hard way. Anyway, the rice is ready. All of the cauliflower has been fried, so I'm gonna transfer it to this baking dish just because it's easy to use in order to coat the pieces with our sauce. You can use a mixing bowl though. Any large receptacle will work just fine. I am using bottled sauce, but you can make the sauce yourself. And all you have to do is once your pieces are baked or fried, just pour the sauce over it and then you're going to mix to coat all of the pieces in the sauce and continue to mix until everything is evenly coated. And it should look something like this. This is a really popular recipe with my family. We really enjoy having it and we'll make spring rolls on the side. Sometimes we'll have wontons, or you can simply boil or steam some broccoli, some additional veggies to go with it. And then you can add some things on the top to make it look pretty. So here I'm adding freeze-dried spring onions. You could add fresh spring onions. You could add sesame seeds. Make it your own. Add whatever your heart desires. Isn't it pretty? It tastes really good too. I will say I prefer sweet and sour sauce over sweet chili sauce, and so did the kids, but it was still really good. Additionally, the fried tastes better than the baked, but the baked is healthier. Thanks for watching.